Well, everybody, I am Waifu Belector, the only fair human on Earth, and it finally happened. Multiversus is shutting down. Not right this very second, but it is confirmed to be coming to an end after the upcoming Season 5, which ends in May. Can't say I'm particularly happy about it. I was rooting for the game after all, but this is unsurprising. This shutdown was always a strong possibility, and while I'm not particularly happy about the shutdown, I'm not very heartbroken over it either. You know, it's not like I've been playing Multiversus every day all the time. I wasn't booting up the PS5 every day like, ooh, better make sure I get some Multiversus in. Like, come on. If people were doing that, we probably wouldn't be here right now. Anyway, let's actually get into this. Just look at this whole situation. How did Multiversus get here, and where does Player First Games go from here? All that sort of thing. And of course, remember to give the video a like if you end up enjoying, and consider subscribing. But alright. Okay, now ever since this game relaunched in May of 2024, people have been unhappy with it on some level. The feel of the gameplay was different, the look was different in places, and features from the beta were just gone and left to be added later. Some weird shit, and perfectly valid shit to get upset about. And sure, all that stuff did help to chip away at Multiversus, but they weren't coming into this in a great position to begin with. Because let us not forget, the game dying right now in 2025 is its second time dying. It died once before, remember? In beta. So when you attempt to try and drag yourself up from the grave, even under the guise of, oh, this is full launch though, it's different, it doesn't matter. People just see a game that died trying to make a comeback. So the Multiversus relaunch had a lot going against it. Still though, I don't think it was an impossible task. But the devs at Player First continued to make poor choices, often when it came to content, and overall shipped a game that ultimately felt like it wasn't exactly sure what it wanted to be. You know, think about something like the perk feature. It felt inconsequential and pointless from the beginning to the end. You think about the attack decay feature that de-incentivized spamming in a game genre where it's really easy to spam. Then after beta, they just removed it, despite framing this game as some super competitive platform fighter. You know, and they do stuff like in their dev updates, they would go over all these balance changes and whatnot, like this shit was Street Fighter, but in that same update would introduce a moving stage with warp pipes and another one with a randomly opening door that'll smack the shit out of players. The game seemed like it didn't know if it wanted to be a competitive platformer, if ever there was one, or a fun casual platformer. But they didn't start off like that. They didn't start off so conflicted. No, in beta, they started off fully intending to cater to the competitive side. Why? Because there is a small but passionate subset of the Super Smash Bros. Community who love to play the game competitively. Now, the thing about passionate people is that they're loud. Right or wrong, they're loud. To belligerent levels sometimes. And this loud but niche competitive Smash group is not necessarily being catered to, because Nintendo really doesn't give a fuck about or support that part of the Smash community. In fact, they've gone out of their way to hinder them at times. So Multiversus, as well as other games, decided that they'd do what Smash wasn't and cater to that subset of fans by making a competitive leaning platform fighter. And that's what they did. That was the original approach. But what did I say? We're talking about a niche subset of something big, but all anyone else hears is something big. What you're doing is catering to a fraction of the huge Smash Bros fan base, when you would very easily get more players to stick around by catering to the primary audience as a secondary option in their mind and leeching what you could, because you're only a secondary option to them until they like it so much that you're the first. By going to the competitive route, you're deliberately targeting a much smaller audience. And that's just bad business. And it's funny, I know the devs are called player first games, but what's important to know about the player is that they don't know what they want. Take all of their input with a grain of salt. Putting the player first should be like putting a child first. Children don't know what they want, need, or anything. So most of the time, you make a better decision for them. The player is no different. Whatever allegedly deep competitive aspects Smash Bros has, which ain't much if we're being honest, that is not why Smash is so popular. And it's not why the vast majority of players show up for it. They show up because it's fun. It's a fun first game. It's simple, it's easy, it presents unbelievably well, there's a ton of crazy, wacky items and nutty stages that make every match unpredictable and make the game infinitely replayable because no two matches are the same. And within that core that everyone shows up for, there's an option that says, oh, you can turn all that crazy fun shit off if you want, I guess. And that's great. Options are great, but the game was not built on the idea that the fun shit didn't exist. That way, it's fun to everybody, but if you're the odd man out who doesn't find the fun stuff so fun, you can toggle it off. The problem with approaching the game the quote-unquote competitive way is that you remove all of the fun shit. And in a genre that does not lend itself to competitive gaming very well, I might add. There is a competitive Smash scene because Smash Bros is incredibly fun and popular. And you know what happens when something is so fun you don't want to put it down? You start looking for new ways to play. You start taking it a bit more seriously, maybe. Start delving deep. It doesn't matter that on the grand scale of competitive games, Smash might as well not even be listed, because it's fun enough that no matter what, someone, somewhere, will be taking it seriously. I've seen people take Uno seriously. It is a game of luck and nonsense, but it's that fun. My point is, player-first games eventually realized this, at least to some degree, and that's why the game felt so wishy-washy with its direction. They started to try and play both sides after they realized they backed the wrong horse. But it was too late. They had already attempted to build a home of competition on what is essentially fun first foundation, by which I mean the platform fighting genre. And their backpedaling came all too late. Sprinkle in some aforementioned unpopular launch changes and their goose was all but cooked. Not to mention a core misunderstanding of characters that players wanted. I mean, once we randomly got Nubia in season 3 of all characters, I just knew this wasn't gonna last long. I spoke about players really not knowing what they want. Well, it seemed player first didn't know either. And now here we are. But they do have until May. At the very least, maybe they can go out with a bang. Ben 10 anyone? I don't know. It was fun while it lasted. This is probably gonna be my final Multiversus video, but I guess we'll see. So at least that's all for now. Remember to give this video a like if you enjoyed and consider subscribing, and don't forget to do your favorite thing, jump in the comments and tell me how stupid and wrong I am. I know that's your favorite. Thanks for watching this video, and until next time, I am Waifu Belector. I am just a normal guy. I like hentai, and RIP Multiversus. I think I've ended a video with that line before. Anyway, goodbye.